nervous. Videotapes.
Okay, so this is our Socratic discussion. Let's start with the first question. So, what is wrong with the world now?
Global warming.
Why do you say that?
Because it's ruining our Earth and we could all die.
How is it ruining our Earth?
Because the oceans are heating up, ice is going away, and all the animals are dying from it.
He makes a good point there. That's a very good point.
Well, what I said was wrong with the world now is that women are still getting paid less than men in some occasions.
I also said that.
I don't think that's right. Just because you're a guy does not mean you should get paid more than me. Just saying.
But sometimes they have more important jobs.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Girls can
You can have, like, the
pretty
same
much do
job,
any
like-
job that a man does.
Gonna have a full call now.
Hunter, what do you think about this?
People they try and change it, make it better than it already is.
To make what better?
The world.
The world.
How do they try to make it better?
Improve on it.
They improve on our world?
Make it better.
By what? How do they improve though?
What do you think about women's rights?
That they're important. That they should have equal rights as men as well.
I agree.
They should have equal rights.
I agree.
Agreed.
What are some of the rights that they don't have equal? Like Nolan, Emma.
They don't get paid the same.
Hey, yeah.
What's another one?
I don't know.
Uh,
What's another one, Allison?
Educational opportunities.
Yeah. And then another thing that's what's wrong with the world now is that like women when they become like pregnant and like that, like abortion. Yeah, the abortions, everything like that. Like people say they should have one, and it should be up to the woman that's pregnant, not up to everyone else. But the government.
Well, and I even think that women, when a man asks a woman to do a job, they don't think that they'll be able to do it, and then they go and do it, and then it blows the man's mind because they don't get that a woman would actually be able to do that, and so a lot of
Can you elaborate on that?
women get undertaken about the things that they can do, which I don't think is fair because
Clarify on that.
But what from the text can be used? Like what story helps us put that together?
Giving women the right to vote, and the Declaration of Sentiments by Elizabeth Cady.
Good job. Yes, I agree. David, what do you think on this?
Yeah, I agree with it. I agree with Emma. What's she saying?
I also agree.
So, do you guys think that women back when they didn't have as many rights, do you think that applies to minorities today, like ones that were oppressed back in history?
some of them do. I mean, some of them are still kind of the same, but a lot of them have changed, but they're still there. They might not be as popular as they were back then, but they're still here today.
I agree.
I don't think it's serious or
It's got a
They
lot
just don't
better
focus on
than it
that
was.
it's a
problem
lot
as
better
much
than it
anymore,
used
but
to
the
be.
Right.
problem
Yeah.
is still happening.
But it's better than it was, but they're still here.
It's still
Yeah.
not good.
today it's more directed towards protests.
Yeah. I don't know if it'll ever be resolved. I think that there's always going to be something there.
Yeah.
Nothing's ever going to get
Because no one in the whole entire world is going to agree on one thing ever.
I agree.
Right. Okay, the second question is, do protests have more importance when they are violent? Brandon,
Yes.
what do you think?
Well, I think that they are, just because when protests are violent, they tend to gain a lot of attention from outsiders who wouldn't know about the cause. So when they have more information about it, they're more likely to think, oh, I should probably think about this, which makes it more important.
I agree with Brandon because on the news you always see protests where they flip cars and stuff, and those get a lot more attention once you really hear about
But I
it.
feel like there shouldn't have to be violence for it to get the point across.
Right.
You shouldn't have to
There
do
shouldn't.
something crazy stupid.
Because anyone would care about it if there's not violence.
I agree.
If it's just a little protest,
No one would make it
then
that big of
nobody
a
will
deal if
care.
it wasn't violence.
Well, and I have an example. So there was a man named Oscar Grant, and he walked into a police station. He was a black man. He got shot and killed for no reason, and there are multiple videos of it. And they had a protest about it because the officer that shot him did not get in any trouble. He didn't get suspended. Nothing happened to him. Well, months after that, he got charged for manslaughter because so many people were protesting. They were setting things on fire. They were shaking police cars until they got stopped with tear gas, and then 120 of them were arrested and 2 were actually charged. But I mean, that showed the judge and all the people involved in that case that something should be done about it, and then he did get charged for manslaughter. So I mean, things like when it is bigger, more things happen than if it wasn't.
I agree.
I also agree with that.
I agree too.
That was a very good.
So
But
do
just
you-
because,
Go
sorry,
ahead.
okay, but just because like it gets bigger picture doesn't mean that there should
Like,
there
yeah.
should be violence.
There
Like,
should have he should have got
violence should have
charged.
to come into play.
Right,
when
he
things
should have
happen.
got charged without anybody having to say anything, but they weren't going to do anything.
I agree.
There are some protests that are violent, like climate change. That's not very good.
Right.
So they're still getting their point across, and I think
Yeah.
those are better than the ones without violence.
I agree.
Okay, but then what were you gonna say?
Well, I was going to ask, do you think that people who maybe are promoting a cause that doesn't have a lot of attention, do you think that they would resort to violence to get that kind of attention?
Probably.
And do you think that's right?
No.
No, I don't
I bet
think
they
it's
will,
right.
but I don't think it's right. I don't think violence is a good idea to bring anything.
Which I do understand kind of where they're like coming from, I guess, with, like what they want to do to get that point across. But I really don't think that they should have to, set things on fire and shake cars and kill people just for something to happen.
Yeah, no, like, what do you think about it?
I think they shouldn't have to do violence, but they do. The ones that get up violence, they get more attention than the ones that don't have violence.
Clinton?
It's the same thing. Their plan's not going to get across if it's just like they don't do something about it.
And I think they know that too. So that's why they do it.
So do you think that's a struggle in like today's world?
No.
Violence? What do you think are struggles in today?
Poverty and racism.
Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, that Simpson teacher, he just got like in trouble for saying that racist slur in class.
Yeah, he got in trouble for that. That's wrong.
Why do you think that's wrong?
Wait, no, it's not wrong. It's
Why do you think
wrong that like he said that,
Why do you say that?
because that's just not.
Everyone should be treated the
Yeah.
same.
It's just not like very nice.
How many, since so many different races are equal today, there should not, I don't think that there should be any racism at all, because everybody's equal and the government says so why can't people just kind of agree with that and not cause a big deal about racism?
And a lot of countries are so diverse. Like, what's the point of it?
Mm-hmm.
But like it's still like people still do racism today, even though they think that they don't. Like
Right.
like just like the thing they say could like totally be like really really mean. It's like
Sometimes it's just how people were brought up. Like, they just are brought up thinking that.
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of how you were raised.
Yeah.
Like one of my cousins, they go to school in Des Moines. Like they have like different kinds of schools like around the area, and my cousin made sure that her kids go to one with like they grew up with like black friends, and like so like they never had to come home and questions their mom like why are those there a black kid in my class?
Right.
Why? They just grew up with it. They didn't know anything different than that.
How does that relate to the Reconstruction and Jim Crow texts and videos that we watch?
I think it shows that we've come a long way from back then, because parents used to have such a huge problem with sending their kids to school.
And now they're like actually
Now they're safe.
wanting to be together and other than being separate.
Yes.
Acting already together is not a big deal like it used to be back then. It's just a normal thing nowadays.
Like you don't even like think about it.
We're all just
If you
a
see
really
a
big
person
happy
when you're walking down the street, you don't think, oh, well, that's, you just think, okay,
That's
that's
just
another
another
person.
person.
Yeah,
It's another person in the world.
right.
Someone just like you. Does anyone else have any other struggles they'd like to discuss?
I don't think so.
Yeah, the fourth question is everyone in America treated like they have freedoms and rights? And I said no, especially people with different cultures, sex, sexual orientation, and race. Those are like the main things
That's
today.
what I said too.
Yeah. I definitely think like the gender thing, like two guys like having like affection for like the same gender as you is like really brought up in this world today. Like, too many people don't like think like they think it's a problem when it's really not a problem. It's like it can't happen, but people think like they're not cool because they're like that. But
And it's
they're
not
just,
like it didn't happen back then either.
Yeah.
People just made it so that nobody knew because that was
they get
That wasn't
in trouble
accepted.
for it.
Yeah.
That's what they had to do.
right. But it's
We
not
just
like it's
need
never
peace and love,
happened.
guys. Peace and love.
All right, we will end on that.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Okay.
End on my
Wait a
statement.
minute. Go and stop, please.
I want to do that.
All right, outside circle. What did the inside circle do well?
They talked a lot. I want to do that.
Okay, they kept the discussion going. Yep. What else? I didn't hear.
They used a lot of it.
Evidence. And where was most of the evidence from?
No,
Real world.
From real world, which is important.
not a lot.
We want to connect what we've been studying to the real world. That is for sure. When we brought in textual evidence to that, what did it do to our conversation though? What's
It
that?
kind of slowed it down.
Think so?
Yeah, a little bit.
I would challenge you on that. I would say it
It
got,
brought things from the past that we didn't really think about until
yeah, I would say that it deepened the discussion, which is one of our main purposes, remember, that we want to deepen our discussion and collective understanding about the issues that we've been reading, researching, and writing about. So bringing in more textual evidence is something that I'd like to see too. What are some other good things that the Insight Circle did? They connected, they used evidence to justify. They asked clarifying questions, yes, and that really helps dig deeper into the conversation. Right. Okay, so quickly and quietly switch places. Inside circle to join outside. Please, right away check which tracker you are. Evidence, discussion, or content.
Oh yeah, front and center, baby.
You better start all the
Okay. So am I. I just started. Okay, let's not argue, guys. We're all friends here. If I get comments, I'll actually start throwing names.
I'll say I'll make a scene.
Who wants to start?
I say
Okay, outside circle. Fine if you are the evidence tracker.
Enrico.
Charge right 5.
Oh, we're not gonna have enough time for this.
There's no time.
Okay, we gotta go down to 8 minutes.
Okay, so if you have content, you are summarizing. If you have discussion, you're recording who connects with whom and how. If you have nothing on your desk, you are an evidence tracker. All right, are we ready?
Yeah.
To start our Socratic discussion, let's focus our attention on question 1, and that is what's wrong with the world now? I believe that there are changes to be made in the world today. For example, there's still segregation between women and men. For example, women's products are more expensive than men's, and just today you hear comments of like men saying that women need to go do the laundry and all.
Oh God.
I agree with that. For example, inequality in jobs and pay wages are different. Referring back to my women's rights presentation, women are paid less than men, which goes along with that.
Yeah, even like the jobs that men and women have the same jobs in, like teachers, you'll see the male gets paid more than the female. So it wasn't just back then; it's now too.
I agree.
Gage, do you have any comments on that? No, I agree very much. Good job, all of you guys.
Oh my gosh, I was here.
I think poverty is another problem in America. Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
So
with
are
that.
drugs.
I agree.
Could you elaborate on that?
12.3% Americans experience poverty. Yes.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I'd say even in like smaller towns, you see a lot more poverty than in larger cities.
Yeah, I think poverty is bad too. Not just like in the U.S. though, but like the whole country.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I say there's a lot more poverty like overseas than there is in America.
I agree. What other struggles do you guys think there are? Zach, what do you think?
What? I didn't hear you.
I asked, what other struggles are there on the world today?
I just think poverty and women and men are just. I think that's the two biggest ones.
Yeah. And then like religious conflicts or food shortages. The food shortages kind of goes back to poverty.
Drugs.
yeah, drugs are big.
I'd say a lot of people in poverty turn to drugs too.
Yeah.
And
Once you get on the
you
roads,
see a lot of people on the
you have no
streets.
hope.
Moving
Matt,
along
we're
to the second question, do protests have more importance when they are violent? No, I think when protest is violent, people just look dumb. They look less intelligent and like a hothead.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Disagree.
I think if you were to choose between somebody just screaming at you or somebody with a stern like voice that is just calm, you'd probably pick the calm voice
Yeah,
over
if someone's
somebody
screaming at
yelling
me, I
you.
don't really want to listen.
Yeah, it makes you upset.
I agree with that statement as well. I just feel like if you're going to try to get something done, you probably want to act more grown up and more mature. And I don't think anyone wants to listen to someone who's immature. They'd rather listen to someone who's calm and mature and reasonable.
I think violent protests get more attention.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
I don't know if they're more
yeah.
successful.
Yeah, I think like
I think they
violence
get more
might get
attention.
the word out more. But
I think publicly they get more attention, but at the same time
They
that
don't
also,
get as much done.
yeah, and it just causes more problems.
Because if you see a violent protest, I'm less likely to support their cause.
Right,
Yeah,
because they
for being
seem
like
a little
that.
bit
Yeah.
immature.
Did they get more negative attention or positive attention?
Negative.
I think
I'd say
it-
Probably
Why?
negative.
Attention in
Violence.
general.
I
They
think
like
it would
violence.
create like a negative impact and just create more problems between people, and you're not really gonna get your point across.
Yeah, like I think like violence. Sometimes people don't try to understand the reason. Like when it's violence, they just see on the news like, oh, like they don't understand like the reason why, and they just think it's just all bad, and then just to focus on the violence and try to stop it. That's what they usually try to do.
Shay, what do you think? Do you think it's people get more attention through violent protest, or should they just settle it as in calm and organized?
It's kind of in between because, like, if you get your point across by yelling, you get your point across, but if you're too quiet, you can't get your point across.
It's kind of somewhere in between.
Mhm.
I'd agree.
What about you, Eric? What do you think about protests here in America?
I think sometimes they didn't care if there is no violence. Because I'm gonna say an example. I don't know if you heard something about Chile.
Mhm.
They are in a war, so they look more when it's violent.
Nice.
I think that most protests are pretty dumb and don't get much accomplished. The civil rights movement in the 50s and 60s was an example of a successful protest, but there's a lot of protests nowadays that go nowhere and they just waste people's time. Like in Minneapolis, a couple years ago, I'm not for sure what protest it was, they started blocking the interstates, and that's a peaceful protest, but that's still dangerous and doesn't
I agree with
benefit
that.
anybody at all.
Yeah.
All they're doing is causing more problems.
I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie The Heat You Give, but it turns into a protest that turns violent. And
It's scary, honestly.
yeah,
How much it can.
it affected a lot of people. It was about like a black male that got shot because they thought that his comb was a gun, but it wasn't.
The cop.
And then, the cop shot him, and then it turned into violent protest because there wasn't a lot done to the white male cop.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that just creates a lot more chaos when violence breaks out.
All right, we got that put across. So third question. So what type of struggles are there
I think we kind of just went over that.
Yeah,
Like,
that was.
we
We
kind of
talked about
connected
both.
that with what's
Okay.
wrong with the
Fourth
world
one.
now.
Yeah, I'd call that a
Fourth
hitchhiker.
Well,
Yeah.
and I have a question on that. Do you think we bring the struggles upon ourselves?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I
I would agree.
Yeah.
That we-
Definitely.
A lot of things that people struggle with can be changed by themselves. Like poverty, a lot of times people will get hooked on drugs and then they'll lose their job and their family and then they'll be poor for the rest of their lives.
So, kind of going along with the struggles, do you think that our rights and freedoms that Americans have any impact, like the struggles, and have any impact on your freedoms and rights?
I definitely think that if we did not encounter any struggles, nothing would be solved and no one would be happy. I mean, there's going to be lots of problems in the world, and if people protest and speak out, then that's how you can get problems solved. And like I said, not everyone's going to be happy, so there are still going to be struggles around the world today. But yes.
Is there any like text from the book that would show how we can improve these issues, like, specifically that come out?
Well, I guess when Abraham Lincoln said in one of his speeches that we need to honor our veterans and bring peace, I think that's a big one. I mean, if
That's a good point.
everyone's,
Putting their lives on the line for us. So
if everyone is nice to each other, it'll make the world a better place. Moving on, our fourth question is everyone in America treated like they have freedom rights? I believe that everyone has the same rights and freedoms, however, not everyone is treated like they do.
yeah, I would agree.
All right, that's all we have time for today. Okay, very good. Outside Circle. What are some great things that the Inside Circle did?
They had a well-done discussion. Yeah, they had a very good.
What made it good though?
They all talked.
They incorporated everyone. They did incorporate everyone, yes. Lively discussion. All right, before, thank you all very much. Before you turn that in today, make sure you highlight the skills that you use. Thanks, guys.